Welcome everyone to the 24th Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where I will be looking into the Weeknd and Simi Khadra. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline. I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology, specifically Synastry. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs, aspects, and if birth time available house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. And of course, as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. So if that sounds good to you, like, subscribe, and keep on watching. Starting off with the Sun, we have Abel's Sun in Aquarius and Simi's Sun in Aries. Both are independent and active. They both appreciate progressiveness. Abel thinks Simi should be more socially minded, lively and spirited relationship, and they appreciate the other's individuality. Simi encourages Abel to focus on himself. Simi's Sun overlaid in Abel's 10th house. Simi sees Abel as an authority figure. Simi accepts Abel without thinking, possibly why she's encouraging him to be his individual self and to focus on himself. Simi believes she deserves respect from Abel. Abel enjoys the respect he receives from Simi. Simi thinks Abel is more intellectual than her, so she views him highly, it seems like so far, really appreciates him as an individual. Abel's Sun conjunct Simi's Saturn. Abel is resentful of Simi. They need to make time for fun. They can overcome obstacles together. Relationship strengthens over the years. They are able to depend on each other. Simi needs to stop being so critical. Simi can be threatened by Abel's individuality. Kind of interesting. It probably is one of those situations where Simi is really into his individual self, but it's one of those things, what you first love is what you end up hating about someone. Simi has a tendency to repress Abel. This is weird. Abel's vitality diminishes after being with Simi. This is very strange. Like we were seeing in the beginning how there's a big focus. Simi wants Abel to be his individual self, focus on yourself, but this comes in. Abel needs to learn to not be so sensitive to criticism. Potentially, maybe Simi is just very critical and perfectionistic when it comes to Abel. She's always like nagging on him, sort of like trying to get him to perfect himself. Maybe that's the issue here. They feel they can have a stable relationship. Abel's Sun squares Simi's Pluto. Love, hey, yeah, from what we're seeing so far, yes. Strong magnetic connection. They both trigger the other's deepest issues. Both need to learn not to focus on their ego. It's hard to remain friends after. Want to learn everything about each other. It's transformative. There are power struggles. Possibility to encourage the other's negative qualities. Possibility of an unhealthy obsession with the other. They both experience emotions they never felt before in a relationship, and they both want to be the dominant one in the relationship. So far, very odd relationship so far. I'm not sure what to make of it, but it's early days. Simi's Sun sextile Abel's Mercury. Similar interests. It's an intellectual friendship. They are able to work together and they like to talk to each other. They resolve problems easily. They find it easy to share ideas and they're relaxed around each other. Simi wants to improve Abel. Simi values Abel's intelligence. This is odd. Like, what? I don't know what to think of this relationship so far. The only consistent thing we're seeing is that Simi wants to improve Abel, which doesn't seem to be coming off very well. Simi's Sun square Abel's Mars. Sparks fly. There's a competitive nature. There's a tendency to interrupt each other. Their individual egos create problems. Productive to work on a mutual goal. We did see they work together well. Both need to stop focusing on the details. Simi feels challenged by Abel's dominance. So it seems like the power struggles that they have is because they both feel they want to be the more assertive one, which Simi feels particularly challenged by. Need to respect each other's natural habits. Over time, get more annoyed with each other. I'm not surprised. It's like we did see before how the relationship strengthens over time. I'm not sure what we will see in terms of the longevity and if there's going to be any more deteriorating factors to the relationship with that one. Simi's Sun square Abel's Uranus. Not predictable or stable. Yeah, from what we're seeing so far, there really isn't any stability to this relationship. Separation occurs and causes strain. Abel feels trapped by Simi over time. He does not seem to be enjoying himself in this relationship at all. Abel changes and challenges Simi's life. Relationship can start and end suddenly. Cannot rely on each other in the long term. Yeah, from what we're seeing so far, it's definitely not a long-term relationship. Simi grows tired of Abel's inconsistency, and Simi initially finds Abel attractive and appealing. I don't know what to make of this relationship so far, because it seems like Simi was like really into the Weeknd or Abel, and then, you know, kind of realized he doesn't want to be changed, or like she can't really change him or improve him, I guess you could say, and she left. I don't know. What were these two? Were these two in a serious relationship? Because if they were, this isn't. Simi's Sun square Abel's Neptune. Misunderstandings, yeah. Delusions and deception. They both glamorize each other. I wouldn't be surprised if more so on Simi's end. Attraction is based on appearance. Yeah, so far we haven't gotten much depth to this relationship. Abel promises more than gives. Simi believes Abel is a soulmate. Abel eventually disappoints Simi, yeah. Like, the only consistent thing I can pull from this so far is, yeah, Simi was really into Abel, wanted to improve him, and then he kind of disappointed her and she dipped. They both need to be clear about expectations, yeah. So now it's time for moon. So we have Abel's moon in Scorpio and Simi's moon in Cancer. They have a close bond. They are sensitive about each other's feelings. Simi takes time to understand Abel. Of course she does. Abel may accidentally hurt Simi. I mean, yeah, we're seeing that kind of, aren't we? Simi's moon overlaid in Abel's 12th house. There's a lack of trust. Simi feels that Abel is hiding something. Abel senses Simi's suspicions. No logical base for this lack of trust and paranoia. Difficult for them to deal with wounded feelings. Their moons are trine together, so there's a desire to nurture each other. They're sensitive to each other's needs. Long-term or marriage. I'm going to cancel this one out. Like, we're starting to go in a bit of a more positive direction, but from what we've seen so far, it's definitely not long-term. Maybe we'll see more things in the future, but so far, no. They share similar tastes. They feel comfortable together. Enjoy creating a home together. They feel safe together. Family plays an important part in the relationship. I mean, from what we're seeing so far, I'm guessing that maybe they have similar kind of families. I don't believe, as far as I know, these two aren't like in a serious relationship. They're not, yeah. Possibility of being too accommodating to each other and tendency to avoid hurting each other. So that's possibly, I assume both of them would be this way, yeah. Both tendency to avoid each other. That's why probably Abel just accidentally hurt Simi. He was trying not to, but accidentally, yeah. Abel's moon in trine Simi's Mercury. Comfortable talking to each other about everything. It's a harmonious relationship. Simi enjoys being emotionally nourished by Abel. Simi provides a foundation for Abel's feelings. Abel is comfortable expressing his feelings of Simi. Okay, I'm glad we're going on a bit of a better turn than we were in the beginning. So these two are very comfortable with each other, which is nice. Abel's moon at trine Simi's Mars. Instinctively drawn to each other. There's mutual attraction, particularly physically. We were seeing it's a lively relationship. Abel nurtures and feeds Simi's ego. Simi teaches Abel to be brave and confident. What a surprise. Both learn about their instincts and needs here. Arguing is not uncommon. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Expressing feelings is spontaneous here. I assume that would be because they feel very comfortable together. They're not particularly filtered with each other. Abel's moon is sextile Simi's Uranus. Not a boring relationship. We keep seeing, yeah, it's not boring, it's not stable, so it's very lively here. They share common eccentric friends, talk about social and political issues. Mutual friends may bring them together. Abel creates a loving environment for Simi. So it seems like Abel is trying to be like very emotionally like dedicated to Simi and sort of wants her to feel very comfortable around him. Abel's moon is sextile Simi's Neptune. Art is a shared interest. They sense each other's feelings. Yeah, we're seeing it so far like a few times already. They're sensitive to each other, understand each other. There's a spiritual connection and it's a mystical meaning. Simi's moon opposite Abel's Mars. It's an emotional roller coaster. I'm not surprised. This relationship is so not stable or consistent, is it? Both react instinctually to each other. Not great. They both get defensive. Codependency is likely to occur. And Simi wants commitment with Abel. She seems to be a bit obsessed with Abel. Simi's moon opposite Abel's Uranus. Simi feels insecure with Abel's unpredictable behavior. It's an unusual meeting. Abel subconsciously sees Simi as a parent. This is weird combined with the whole thing of Simi wanting to improve Abel. Unstable marriage or long term, yeah. Abel is not interested in emotional closeness like Simi. Did we see before Simi sees Abel as a soulmate? Because this is kind of sad. If she's very attached to him, like she wants commitment, she sees him as a soulmate, and then we have here, he doesn't really want emotional closeness. If this is, if I remember correctly, in the Selena Gomez Weeknd video, there was that whole element of Abel not being very emotionally open. Relationship can begin and end suddenly. Simi's moon are opposite Abel's Neptune. They negatively influence each other. They misunderstand each other's signals. Abel does not fit with Simi's version of him. What? This is so weird that it's repeated. Simi clings to Abel. Simi makes Abel feel safe, potentially why he's so comfortable with her. Both feel guilt when they are separated. Difficult to define boundaries, and they may lose themselves in each other. Simi's moon are trine Abel's Pluto. It's an intense meeting. They both will need to let go of fake personas. There's a strong bond, which I'm pretty sure is repeated. They both bring truth and change in social and political areas together. I assume this is linking back to how they discuss these things. Involved in organizations together, they can solve problems in their community, can go through all difficulties together, and they both can transform each other. I do see that. I mean, it's a very odd relationship so far, very unstable, very lenient towards Simi. So now it's time for the Mercury. So we have Abel's Mercury in Aquarius and Simi's Mercury in Pisces. Neither are self-centered, and Simi can be impatient with Abel's excessive analysis. Simi's Mercury in Abel's 9th house. Travel, culture, and philosophy are common topics of conversation, so they do seem to talk about a lot more, like, I guess, more worldly subjects. Abel is impressed with Simi's knowledge, and Simi gives Abel a greater perspective on life. Abel's Mercury trines Simi's Jupiter. Simi is enthusiastic about Abel's thoughts and ideas. It's a strong friendship. They have positive and inspiring conversations. I do see that, like, conversation and, communication-wise, we don't really seem to see any issues. Simi can be too lenient with Abel. Simi introduces Abel to new ways of thinking. This would link back to how she gives him a greater perspective on life, as we just saw. Optimistic meeting. Abel helps Simi with self-expression. Business together is advantageous, and they enjoy traveling together, and they come from different cultures. Simi's Mercury sextile Abel's Mars. Abel encourages Simi to put her thoughts into action. They work well together. There's healthy competitiveness. Abel can take things too personally. Inspire each other to improve themselves. Particularly Simi inspiring Abel to improve himself, because that's, she seems to be very much into that. Simi's Mercury sextile Abel's Neptune. Easy communication. As I said, the communication seems to be fine. Share creative interests. They are captivated by each other. Both enjoy talking about art, dreams, and spirituality, and they just get each other. Simi's Mercury trine Abel's Pluto. They have deep conversations, revealing deep dark secrets here. Abel helps Simi open her mind, healing negative beliefs about relationships. Therapist-patient relationship. I assume this will be with Simi being the therapist, because she seems to be very keen on improving Abel. They get to the bottom of matters. They feel very close together. I'm not surprised. Like, there's that transformative element, and we have seen they have a pretty strong bond. Resolve difficult issues together. Simi is fascinated with Abel's depth. Abel appreciates Simi's humor and easygoing nature. So now it's time for Venus. So we have Abel's Venus in Capricorn and Simi's Venus in Aries. These are both cardinal signs. Simi is attracted to Abel's dominance, which is interesting because in the very beginning we saw there is a bit of that power struggle with both of them wanting to be the more dominant, assertive one, but I assume, Simi could be just less so. Simi desires to rile up Abel. Abel finds Simi stimulating. Abel may feel like Simi's parent. Interesting, because we saw the other way around before. So I assume these two probably are pretty equal in this relationship and see the relationship the same way. You know, they both have very similar, I guess, sort of like parts in the relationship, and they feel very similarly in this relationship, if that makes sense. You know, I feel like if you would ask them about the relationship as individuals, they would both pretty much say the same thing. It's not like they have very different views on the relationship, if that makes sense. Long term, we have been starting to see this a bit, but I don't feel like this is in a serious way. Like, I see them being very close friends at most. Simi's Venus enables 10th house. Work is their focus. Areas of expertise complement each other. I'm not sure what Simi does. I think I saw that she was a DJ, so they're both in the musical industry, but I guess slightly different. Simi sees Abel as someone that can improve her status. Abel sees Simi as having talent in areas he lacks. They work well together. They respect each other's strengths and skills. Productive and profitable relationship. They both want to be the boss. See, there seems to be this element. They both want to be the leader. They both want to be assertive. But yeah, I assume maybe Simi still wants that, but she just finds it attractive with Abel as well. Confusion on her part. Abel's Venus opposite Simi's Mars. Desire for each other will always be there. Abel may become manipulative to try get Simi to prove her feelings. This is weird because, you know, we've been seeing that he seems to be, I don't want to say a bit more detached, but Simi seems to be very into this relationship, whereas we haven't seen a lot from Abel's end. Abel feels he gives more than he gets. Abel sees Simi as harsh. Simi sees Abel as lacking substance. And Simi may come on to Abel too strong. That we've seen. Abel's Venus conjunct Simi's Uranus. There's an instant attraction. Abel is attracted to Simi's unpredictability. They share unusual interests and initial attraction fades. Yeah, I think we saw this in the beginning from Simi's end. Like, she seems to be very much all in, and then it just fades away, her attraction and interest. Abel's Venus conjunct Simi's Neptune. Abel is sensitive to Simi's needs. Abel sees Simi as a soulmate. Interesting. They both kind of see each other as a soulmate. I wonder, yeah, it just seems like they both were very much into this relationship, or possibly with their unpredictability in this emotional roller coaster. Maybe for both of them, they both get very into this relationship, then they don't, and then in and out. It's just, you know, dreamy energy when they meet. Abel finds Simi very attractive. Abel may project his ideals onto Simi. Simi may ghost Abel. Simi initially encourages Abel to have an idealized image of her. Over time, Simi may feel pressured to keep up with Abel's image of her. Abel needs to learn to look past Simi's faults. Not a practical relationship. I mean, we have seen like they work together well, but I assume like it's not practical in terms like it's not going to really work. Abel appreciates Simi's imagination. It's a spiritual and magical meeting, and Simi is easily charmed by Abel. Abel's Venus sextiles Simi's Uranus. They're consumed by each other. I kind of see that. Like, they both seem to like view each other very strongly in terms of they see each other as a soulmate, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of longevity to that. Unlikely to go stale and routine. Repeated. What a surprise. Emotionally fulfilling. I see that. Like, honestly, in every other way, this seems to be quite a chaotic relationship. But I think the more positive aspects, they both seem to be very good emotionally here. It is just, yeah, the very on and off element. It's very confusing. I mean, they do seem to see each other in the same way, which is useful, I guess. Depends on what you like. Abel sees Simi as irresistible. Both see disagreements as a way to understand the other person more. I see that. Like, they're both very emotionally close, it seems like. Simi's Venus square Abel's Mars. Jealousy and possessiveness. Simi sees Abel as dominant. So, yeah, it seems like they both want to be the more assertive one, but Simi probably sees him as a bit more assertive. Abel sees Simi as seductive with no substance. I think we saw that before. No, it was Simi seeing Abel as someone with no substance. So yeah, they both very much seem to view each other in the same way. Simi's Venus square Abel's Uranus. They feel they cannot rely on each other. They are separated at times. I'm not surprised. It's an emotional roller coaster. We see again. Abel resents Simi's desire for commitment. We see again. It's not a stable relationship. We see again. Instant attraction. We see again. Yeah. all of this very much repeated. I'm being a jukebox on repeat at the moment. Simi's Venus square Abel's Uranus. Simi needs to make sure she falls for the real Abel, not her illusions. I swear we saw this in the Selena Gomez reading. This whole thing, you need to fall for the real Abel, not your illusions. It's just very interesting that it seems like the illusion of like the Weeknd is really enticing to people, and that's why women would get into a relationship with him. That seems to be the pattern, at least of Simi and Selena. Which is, I find very interesting that they're very much into the Weeknd, but it seems like there is a distinct, difference between Abel and, his, like, sort of, persona of the Weeknd. Extreme self-trusting. Abel needs to be careful to keep promises and not make huge ones. I think we did see he feels he gives more than he gets, sorry. Abel has a hard time dealing with Simi because she doesn't want to see reality. Not only with her illusion, but also I feel probably with her desire for commitment, which Abel seems to clearly not be interested in. So now it's time for Mars. We have Abel's Mars in Capricorn and Simi's Mars in Cancer. These are both cardinal signs. Simi is protective of Abel. They calmly solve problems. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think we've seen anything particularly concerning with their communication, that they're particularly argumentative or anything, so I'm not surprised. Subtle relationship. I assume this would be to the public because I haven't heard of them. It's not like Selena and Bella where they seem to be, quite publicly known, because the relationship itself seems to be quite chaotic and not subtle, so I assume this would be more relating to the public. Especially we have seen that like work and the public is a bit of an element in this relationship. Abel is hard on Simi. Simi's Mars in Abel's 12th house. Abel feels uncomfortable around Simi. I assume this would be due to her attachment. Simi brings out a hidden side of Abel. Relationship formed from having to protect one another. This is interesting. Abel sees the more fragile part of Simi. Simi feels drained by Abel, and Abel wants to protect Simi. Fascinating. Their Mars signs are opposite together, as I probably should have mentioned. Capricorn, Cancer, yes, they are cardinal signs, but they're also sister polarity signs, so they enjoy each other's company. There is a lack of understanding of the other's anger, and it can be competitive. Abel's Mars square Simi's Jupiter. They meet in a fun way. Simi sees Abel as selfish. I assume this will be related to his detachment. Abel sees Simi's logic as hindrance. Encouraged the other to be reckless. I'm not surprised. This seems to be quite chaotic. Simi may be a bad influence on Abel. Not surprisingly so. This relationship is kind of crazy. Simi's Mars opposite Abel's Saturn. Both will discover what they want from a relationship. I do see this. I think especially from Simi's end, because I assume she would learn like what she likes in someone, and probably you can't change someone to your mold, and she probably, I feel like through that you do learn, what you do like in a person, because you can't change this person and you do have particular ideals you project onto them. If that makes sense, I hope I worded that correctly. But also, I feel like in this relationship, she probably did learn she's a bit more attached, probably. Because, she's very attached to Abel, which she doesn't seem to reciprocate, and she seems to be a bit frustrated by. Abel tries to control Simi. Abel finds Simi's energy attractive initially. There is a lot of, they find each other attractive initially. Simi becomes rebellious to Abel. Abel becomes annoyed of Simi's childishness. Simi feels she's always being watched by Abel, and there's a difference in views. Simi's Mars opposite Abel's Neptune. Opposite approaches to taking risks. Argue about the differences between their wants. Okay, so I assume that the elements of particularly with Simi being very attached and wanting to change Abel, and Abel being a bit more detached, I feel like that is very much open in this relationship. They do seem to have open communication and a very close bond, so it makes sense that these issues will be out in the open. Simi's Mars trine Abel's Pluto. It's intense, they accomplish a lot together. Enjoy the power play between them. Perfect. I mean, it is pretty good. These two both seem to want to be the dominant one. There is a bit of a slight thing with Simi being okay with Abel being a bit more assertive, but they still seem to be naturally like very strong people. Lots of primitive energy. They both go through big changes here. I assume this will be connected to, we've seen a couple times how it's a transformative relationship. Potential for both to get possessive. We have seen this. Simi helps bring Abel's subconscious to the surface. So that was the final aspect. That was a lovely, calm reading. That was a bit of a chaotic reading, but that's okay. If you did enjoy this reading, give this video a like, and yeah, subscribe to this channel for more videos from me, and click the notification bell if you want to get notified when I upload. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye!